Hi, I'm Dawn Karima, and I'm delighted and honored and humbled and happy to be here with you today. To be asked to share about my art is a true honor. So I greet you from the beautiful Qualla Boundary Reservation in Cherokee, North Carolina. That's my home, and I'm so happy that you get to see some of the beautiful Great Smoky Mountains. Isn't that exciting? And I'm just delighted to talk about my art today. So by way of introduction, I am the winner of a Native American Music Award 2013 for Best Gospel Inspirational for my CD, The Desire of Nations. And you can find The Desire of Nations on Amazon, iTunes, and writtenheritage.com too. You can find it on cdbaby.com/honeydawnkarima. You can Google me and I'll come up just fine. I am so excited right now. I'm tickled really because I'm nominated for 2 Indigenous Music Awards right now. One of them is for my new CD, The Stars of Heaven, which you can find at cdbaby.com/dawnkarima, or you can find it at writtenheritage.com, Amazon, iTunes, basically wherever there's some music, you can find me. And The Stars of Heaven is really precious because it's nominated for an Indigenous Music Award right now. Isn't that exciting? For this year, right now. And you can help vote for it to win Best Gospel CD by visiting www.indigenousmusicawards.com. That's indigenousmusicawards.com. And you just click on Vote Now, you register, it takes a few seconds, and then you can vote for The Stars of Heaven for Best Gospel CD. But also, I host a radio program called A Conversation with Dawn Karima, and that is a wonderful way to spotlight positive people doing positive things in Native America. My grandma used to say that there are way more good people than bad people, but the bad ones seem to get all the publicity. But not on my show. My show has positive, uplifting people. We spotlight the stars of Native America. And you can find it on terrestrial radio stations, on internet radio at talktainmentradio.com, and 24/7 podcasts at talktainmentradio.com. And I would be so honored if you would vote for A Conversation with Dawn Karima for Indigenous Music Awards this year. Just visit IndigenousMusicAwards.com, click on Vote Now, and go from there. So I'm up for 2 awards, and I'm very excited for that, and I really appreciate your vote. I appreciate y'all voting for me. All the proceeds from my music go to charity, so it really helps me help others, and it's nice to be recognized for that. Oh, in other great news, I am an honoree for the Indigenous Artist Activist Award for Indigenous Journalism, and I'm so thankful and grateful for that. Oh, that's awesome. It's all about my show and the work that I do, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you. I have 2 novels out. One is called The Way We Make Sense. That's my first book, and that's probably my favorite. I know we're not supposed to have favorites. We love them all the same, but I always feel like if you read The Way We Make Sense, you'll know me, really, from the heart. And it's set right here in Cherokee, North Carolina, and it's just a wonderful blessing to me. And you can find that on Amazon, The Way We Make Sense. And I have a second novel out, and it's a blessing too. It's called The Marriage of Saints. It's part of the American Indian Studies series at the University of Oklahoma Press. And so that is a great honor, right? I mean, it was, nominated for a New Mexico Book Award, and my first novel was actually a runner-up to the North American Native First Book Award. And so these books have just been a blessing. The Marriage of Saints is also available at the University of Oklahoma Press, Amazon, just wherever they've got books. Just go there and say, I want about 10 of them. One size fits all. Christmas is coming. Right? I mean, and so those are the 2 books I have out. And I have another book on the way called The Singing of the Stars. And it is poetry. So I'm really excited and looking forward to that in so many ways. I am just blessed to be visiting with you and see y'all and be able to be part of this great site, because I know the quality of art that happens here, and so I'm very honored by that. Now, I have some questions that I'm supposed to answer, and I'm usually on the other side of the mic interviewing other people, right? On radio and television, or even as a Native American culture editor for powwows.com, which I currently am, and some of the other publications I write for are Native Hoop and Restoring the Circle and Whisper and Thunder, and so I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed. News from Indian Country, right? So I'm very blessed to be able to interview lots of people, but this is fun because I actually get to answer the questions this time. So let's see what we've got here. Oh, this is exciting. I knew this would be scintillating, right? A lot of wisdom in this. Who are your biggest influences and how have they inspired your work? Well, I have to say that honestly, my biggest influence is love. Love is my superpower. And I'm not talking about the kind of love that Hallmark cards and Valentine's Day and that kind of love. I'm talking about love, a force. Love never fails. And I put God as the name on it, our faithful creator, right? But whatever you call it, love. Love never fails. Love covers all offenses. Love suffers long and is kind, right? Love never gives up. Love is a tremendous force. And I think whenever I start to compose music or write or create beadwork or do any of the art that I do, the number one thing I'm thinking is that love is my superpower. It really is, Love is my first language, Gary Farmer a while back called me the queen of love, and it stuck. And I think he's right, because that really is the whole point of why we're here. Love God, love others. Repeat. Right? Exactly, right? For the next 100 years. Give love, gather love, right? Folks talk about karma, and karma's going to get you if you don't watch out, and it's bad, but karma works the other way too, right? Give, and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, shall men give into your bosom. So I believe when you give out love, you'll be surprised at what you get back, how blessed you'll be, how blessed you'll feel, how much you'll love and like your life. So I would have to say love. I mean, love is the number one thing that I do. I pray and I obey. Just that simple. I mean, I have an MFA and I have a PhD. But really, when it all comes down to it, it's about my prayer life and about love and walking in love. And I don't think that's about being super spiritual or religious or legalistic. I think it's more about opening up to how this art will help other people. I mean, some of us create art because it's cheaper than therapy. And some of us create art because we have an ego. Or some of us create art because we need the money. Or some of us create art because we just want to. It's fun. But I think I create art with the people in mind. How will this song, I won a Native American Music Award for The Desire of Nations. And a lot of those songs were just love coming out. Love toward Creator and thankfulness for all the blessings and love toward other people and wanting other people to be lifted and encouraged. And then The Stars of Heaven, which is nominated for an Indigenous Music Award right now. And you can vote for it at indigenousmusicawards.com for Best Gospel. It is just a labor of love too, because everybody on it with me, both the CDs, they donated their time, because we donate all proceeds from my music to charity. So they donated their time. There's Night Shield on there, Mr. Futuristic is on there, B of Dakota South Records is on there, Endon's on there, Pen Smoke's on there, J Red Eagle's on there, White Elk's on there, Marie Gates is on there, T-Rock's on there. I mean, Mr. Massive's on there. I mean, we could just go on and on about these great people who have shared pieces of their talent and their time to help me do what I do. And I'm tickled by that. I'm just blessed by that. And so with all that love going into the CD, that's what you get when you listen to it. People talk about the fact that it's fun to dance to and it's nice to listen to, and it is. But they also talk about how they feel better. And that's no mistake. Love is good medicine. Right? I mean, it is. So that's exactly what I want. And that's the influence. So what's my number one influence? It's love. I'm so thankful for my wonderful parents, my brother, my grandparents and great-grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my friends, my loved ones, my prayer partner. I'm so grateful for all the love that they show me. My BFF. I mean, I'm just so happy for all the people in my life who are kind to me. And I think I have received a lot of love, and I hope that spills over into my art, into my writing, into my music, into my radio show, into my beadwork, into my dancing, into everything that I do. I hope so. So let's see what's next. That was a good question. Let's see what we've got next here. Oh, wow. This is really super thought-provoking. These are some good questions. And, Okay. Well, let's think about this. Culture is a big part of what you do. In what ways have you involved it with your work? Every way there is. Every way that there is. Culture is extremely important to me. And I hope, I mean, even from language, I use a lot of tribal language, indigenous language in my music. I sing it. My novels, The Way We Make Sense, is set right here on the Qualla Boundary Reservation. And The Marriage of Saints is actually set in Oklahoma, Indian Territory, Indian country, as you may think about it. And so, I don't know, I think culture is everything to me. I think, because culture is not just ethnic or racial. Culture is also regional. Like, what does it mean to be a Southerner? What does it mean to be a displaced Southerner? What happens to Southerners when we try to go someplace else? We don't always do that well. We come home more than any other transplanted group. What happens to us in terms of our faith? That's a part of culture too. You know, the faith, the way that I pray, the way that I believe. You know, I have strong Baptist Christian beliefs, but I also have strong shell shaker beliefs as part of stomp dance. And I also dance powwow, Southern cloth, women's traditional, and jingle. And so that's culture too. And I think it's really simple to say culture is just, what race are you? Check this box. And for people like me, we got to check lots of boxes anyway, so it doesn't work like that. But I love all of my heritage. I do. And that includes the religious part and the regional part. And then culture is also a lot about class. You know, I have a diploma from Harvard University. That is a culture, right? The Ivy League is a culture. Academia is a culture. And then the arts itself become a culture as well. So I'm just blessed that all the cultures that I belong to work together and help me to, as a tribal person, create art that is a blessing to other people. And that's really all I want to do is I'm blessed so I can be a blessing. And that's a big part of all the cultures to which I belong. We believe in generosity and humility and service and kindness and walking in love with other people. So that's a good question. I really like that. Let's see what we got next. Is spoken word more powerful than written or even visual work? That's a really interesting question. You know, in the Christian tradition, when God got ready to create, he started talking. Let there be light, right? So spoken word is pretty powerful. I think it's all powerful because I think all of it works together, and I think it's all part of a language. There's a language. Love is a language, and I don't think people understand that. I mean, I think especially in English where we use all the same words. I love my sweater. I love my cat. I love my dog. I love my boyfriend. I love cheeseburgers. And it's all the same. But in many indigenous languages, there are words that describe depth of love, the kind of love that you have for a certain kind of friend, the kind of love that you have for your children, the kind of love you have for the life that you're living. That makes a big difference, I think. And I'm really interested in this idea of love, walking in love. As you're saying, it comes to us, you know, in the spoken word and the written word and in visual elements. So I'm just going to simply say that I'm not going to limit God and how he speaks through me or how he speaks to me. You know, it might take beadwork. It might take dancing. It might take singing. It might take written words in a book. It may take digital because I also do films. I have lots of award-winning films out and lots of filmmaking that I have done and lots of video that I have done, and I feel like that automatically brings me into people's lives. Spoken word is extremely powerful, especially in radio. I think there's always going to be a place for the spoken word. I think about the kind of contacts that we get. On Twitter as Dawn Karima, and I'm also on Instagram as Dawn Karima, and Honey in the Opry at Facebook. So I hope you'll add me, like that page. And a lot of people say that they just listen to me. They listen to the show, which you can find a conversation with Dawn Karima at talktainment.com. And they listen to the show. They listen to it. I mean, really, like it keeps them company at work. They listen to it as they're falling asleep at night. I've had people tell me that they were in the hospital or a sick bed or something, and they would just listen to me, and it would soothe them. And I had many people tell me, I'm comforting. You're comforting to talk to. You're comforting to listen to. But that's an honor, really. Because in the digital age, we have so many choices. We can all listen to lots of stuff. And the fact that someone chooses to listen to a conversation with Dawn Karima, or my music, or the other things that I do. I have a YouTube channel at Dawn Karima. Surprise. And I'd love it if you'd subscribe. But I think it's really interesting that people are saying to me that it helps them. They feel better now. They were hurting and now they're not. Simply because of a word that is spoken. Think about it like this. A lot of spoken words that hurt our feelings we remember for life. Somebody bullied you in kindergarten and you remember what they said. But a lot of us remember the words of praise. You know, if you close your eyes and think about your grandparents and how they were always happy to see you and they loved you and they called you sweetheart or baby or darling, and even if they're not here anymore, you can hold on to that for the rest of your life. And those words remind you that somebody loved you. So I think the written word is extremely powerful too. Because I think as it goes in through our eyes, a lot of times it becomes literally part of our psyche. We can all quote passages from books that we really enjoyed, and we can all talk about a book that changed our lives. Jane Austen is my favorite author. Surprise, right? Yeah, right. But I mean, it's really powerful. You know, we can all go back to the written word, and I hope people do that with my books, you know. What happens to me a lot, The Way We Make Sense, people read that's my first novel, and they would run up to me and say, what happened to Manna? And I'd say, what do you mean what happened? What happened? Are they all right? And they'd gotten so involved with the characters that even when the book closed and ended with a happy ending, people still wanted to know what happened. And that's one of the things that motivated me to write The Marriage of Saints, which is not a sequel, but it contains a family tie, like so many of us do in ethnic families, right? We're all in it together. If you have an ethnic family, you know what I mean. Don't even act like you don't know. You really are all in it together. So, you know, one side is in The Way We Make Sense and the other side is in The Marriage of Saints. But it's amazing how people take that written word, they imagine what the characters look like, they imagine what they're like, and they integrate them into their own dreams and visions. And it's really cool, some of the response. And then as visual art goes, I think we're all works of art. You know, when I put on my regalia and I perform or I dance at a powwow, it's amazing to me how many people come up to me and talk to me about it. They talk to me about the beadwork. They talk to me about the fabric. They talk to me about my skirts. They talk to me about the moccasins I'm wearing. And it draws them in. We are works of art, right? Singing is a work of art. When you put together the notes and the music and the lyrics and the timing and the beat and the rhyme and everything else, it's a masterpiece, you know? So I think it's all equally powerful. I think it's just... they're all ways to say I love you. That's it. That's all a way to say I love you. You're going to make it. You hang on in there till the end. You're going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You know, you can do this. You got this. And that's what it is for me. That's what the art is for me. To uplift people who are going through things, to help them do what they need to do, and to bless them. Let's see what other good questions we have here. These are some great questions and great things to think about. Why choose the medium you use to interpret your work? It's a really good question. I think, first of all, I would say this, that I don't limit my work. I think that you use the medium that is necessary at the time. If I need to reach you through singing, right? If you're in a church service or a concert, that's the time for me to reach you by singing. If you're at a powwow, that's the time for me to reach you by dancing. If you are just watching me walk around the grocery store, I can reach you through beadwork, right? You know, people stop me all the time and say, oh my goodness, that beadwork is fantastic. And thank you. If you got a little more time, I'll reach you through my novels and the written word. If you don't have much time, then I'll reach you through a song. If you want deeper, you want something deeper, you want some life lessons, you want some help, I'll reach you through my radio show, A Conversation with Dawn Karima on talktainmentradio.com, where we have an hour to spend with our guests and really dig into some deep issues and talk about some things that are important to us and really pour out our hearts. I'm amazed at what comes out in that show. You know, I'm amazed. I don't believe in interview questions, really. You know, what are you doing and why are you doing it? I believe in just sort of the front porch philosophy. we're all just going to sit on the front porch and, you know, have some sweet tea or some lemonade and talk about what's in our hearts at that moment. And I'm not going to judge you. I'm just going to listen. And that's what happens on my show, and you'd be amazed at what comes out. People talk about the desires of their hearts. They talk about the obstacles they face. They talk about the heartbreaks in their lives. They talk about the challenges. We rejoice with those who rejoice, but we also mourn with those who mourn. And it helps somebody, you know. Somebody out there thinks they can't do this anymore. They can't make it, not one more day. And then you hear somebody that you look up to, like Keith Secola or Gary Farmer, Night Shield, Pen Smoke. You know, you look up to them and then you realize they too have had to come through some obstacles. Miss Indian World, Miss Indian Arizona, they've been on our show. There have been some fantastic people on my show. I'm just honored to have them there. You know, the first Native American astronaut has been on my show, and it's been stunning, actually. The people who are willing to come on and just visit with me. Just set a spell and talk about things. Visit with me a little bit. So, in terms of choosing a medium, I don't think I want to choose. I think I will let Creator do that. I think whatever I need to use to share love with a hurting world and people who just need to be encouraged, I'll use it. You know, if it's the radio show, Conversation with Dawn Karima at talktainmentradio.com, then that's great. But if it's The Way We Make Sense or The Marriage of Saints or The Singing of the Stars, my books, you know, I just recently signed a deal to do children's books. You know, so now I'm going to encourage the next generation. Right? You know? And I think that's really important. I don't even have kids yet, but I'm going to write children's books and encourage yours. And I think, I'm not sure I'm choosing the medium. Film. You know, when I started writing novels, people said, "Oh, do you love writing?" And I'm not sure I love writing. It's so solitary, you know, and it's sort of isolated and all that. And I'm pretty social. A lot of you know that. You can find out for yourself on Twitter, Dawn Karima, Instagram, Dawn Karima, or Honey and the Opry on Facebook. And I'm really social. So one of the things that happened is that the writing morphed over into film. And my films started winning awards, and people really liked them and enjoyed them, and they were in film festivals, and people were like, yes, yes, yes. And I realized it wasn't so much writing as it was telling a story. And so sometimes you tell the story by dancing the story in the powwow arena. Sometimes you tell the story by beating the story by making beadwork. Sometimes you tell the story by writing it, literally a book, like The Way We Make Sense or The Marriage of Saints. Sometimes you tell the story by praying it. Sometimes you tell the story by singing it, like on my CDs, The Desire of Nations and The Stars of Heaven. So I love being here with you. I love this time with you, and I thank you for it. I really do. You're a blessing.